Hello. I'm pretty sure the ACH staff has been notified, but both Robin, both of the co-chairs are going to be out today. So Robin and Allison. So they asked me to chair in their stead.
Sounds good. Thank you for accepting to do that.
Yeah, and I'm calling from home because I'm getting over a cold, so I didn't want to make anybody sick. Or else I'd be right there with you, Roger.
Hello, everybody. This is Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Hey, can you hear us now?
I'm hearing someone.
Okay, yeah, it's me, Yvonne. Okay, so interesting.
Welcome, Sam. Welcome, Jessica. You might have been here, Jessica, but I just saw your camera pop open, so. Hi, Sam. I'm Grace.
Hi, it's nice to meet you.
You too.
Grace, I gather you are okay. This is Emily. Sorry, you're okay with running the meeting. I think you saw the communication.
Yep.
Did you see the communication about that? Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'm your chair de facto.
Perfect. Thank you. The only thing I
Mhm.
wanted to make note, if you may have already seen the communication, but Holly Morales and Mitch, correct me if I'm wrong, is going to be late, about 30 minutes late. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so just wanted to put that out there, and Allison and Robin thus far are obviously not going to be here today, so.
And I believe Sharon said she was planning to attend in person. So hopefully she'll be showing up there at UA or at ACEH soon.
Great. Welcome, Janae. Welcome, Kenny.
Hello.
Oh,
Maybe Sharon just arrived.
Yeah, they're just walking in.
Perfect.
Roger. How's it going?
Well, that looks like Dave and
Yep.
Sharon. Welcome, welcome, Laura. Welcome, Heather.
Well, now I'm super bummed that I came home since I'm leaving right after this meeting. I could have been there hanging out with everybody.
Your loss.
It is my loss. I am very sad.
One time.
Somebody hasn't already offered it to you. There's pasta that people should take and eat if there's any of it left.
Oh, where's that?
Giving away office food.
In the fridge in the back. Roger knows. He can
Uh-huh.
guide you.
I might need to have a snack before I go to my next meeting after this.
Yeah, if I wasn't recovering from a cold and afraid I might, give it to somebody as a gift. I feel like you guys always offer snacks. And it's always a delight to be there in person.
Yeah, so, but I pulled it up and they see the big close sign on the door. I was like, oh, well, maybe we're not gonna be in person.
Okay. How are we doing towards our quorum?
Assuming it's Roger, Dave, and Sharon at ACEH, right?
Yes.
Is anybody else there? Okay, we need one more person.
There might be someone coming in. Let me see who that was.
One more counselor, I should say.
Hey.
It's just me at the lock of the door.
Okay.
Thank you.
No, hopefully somebody will come in on Zoom.
I have to actually turn this on so I can see what's going. Oh,
Oh, no, we got one more. Well, here.
we got quorum.
Hooray.
You're welcome. Oh, you just made calls.
Who is the individual that just joined? Oh, is that Will?
Yes, that's well.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Don't forget to tell Will about the pasta in the fridge.
Next time, it's on the
Excellent.
back. It's on the back table. It's on a table. Not in the fridge. Looks like,
Gotcha.
oh, that's bacon in it.
Well,
I think
without
it's
further
turkey
ado-
bacon. I don't think it's real bacon. I think it's turkey bacon.
Oh, that's cool.
It was good though.
Okay.
Well, welcome everybody. Allison and Robin are both out, and so they asked me to chair in their stead. I want to welcome everyone and thanks everyone, and I'm so happy to see that some of us are meeting in person at ACH headquarters. Thank you for being our host, and thank you to everyone that could join online. Let's go ahead and get the meeting started. Thank you for screen sharing. And so I believe we can go right into our land acknowledgement. Sam, do you prefer Sam or Samantha?
I normally go by Sam, but I'm genuinely fine with either. I'll respond happily to
Great.
anything.
Great. Well, I've got you on the agenda. Oh, wait. Are we supposed to approve the agenda in advance? The meeting minutes and agenda?
I think we usually do the land acknowledgement and the mission moment first.
Okay.
I just got a little out of order. Sorry about that.
Okay. All right. Well, Sam, I'd like to invite you to share your land acknowledgement, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Well, the Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness and the HPRS Advisory Council would like to acknowledge the Dena'ina Athabascan people on whose traditional lands we gather, as well as the indigenous people of all of Alaska. For thousands of years, the Dena'ina have been and continue to be the stewards of this land. We would like to express our gratitude and respect for the past and present stewardship of the waters, plants, animals, and spiritual practices of this place, and the contributions, innovations, and contemporary perspectives of the Upper Cook Inlet Dena'ina.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And then Sharon, I have you down for our mission moment for today.
Yeah, so I'm
I'm just speaking on the owl, but can everybody hear me? Because I also, I'm on here. Okay.
Yep.
All right. All right, I've got a few slides here. I don't know who's advancing them, so I'll just say, please go ahead. So, yeah, so I'm going to talk about, I don't know how long I have, a few minutes. So I'm just going to talk about, well, first of all, you know, I've been asked to do the mission moment twice. And the first time I was like, well, you know, what can I possibly contribute to this? I don't work directly with people experiencing homelessness, either in an agency or anything like this. I'm a professor and a professor of criminal justice, which is not immediately obviously tied to homelessness. But then I thought, well, I am sort of a representative of the university. So what I'm going to be focusing on here today is sort of a snapshot of what the University of Alaska Anchorage does to either address homelessness as a social condition or educate people about homelessness. And so first I'm going to talk about work by faculty, and that's what's on this slide, that faculty engage in a variety of service opportunities, like for example, what I'm doing here. This is something that's on my workload agreement. So the university is technically paying me to do this. And then there are other faculty who do work, at Choices, for example. And some of these examples might be old, but I don't know. Then there are faculty across a variety of dimensions. I should have added political science to this because there's a new faculty member in political science doing research on housing policy and homelessness. But so mostly in the College of Health and also the College of Arts and Sciences, but faculty doing research in a variety of different aspects. Also institutionally, the university created hunger and homelessness support network. And so I have another slide that talks about some of the resources at the university, and I'll get to those. Faculty have been engaged with Housing Action Week. Some of them came out and did a presentation. And then also at the university there was an employee experience discussion on housing insecurity, mental wellness, and compassion. And I think this had to do a lot with a lot of complaints that were coming forward to the university police department that, oh, there are all these kind of like people on campus, you know, that we don't really like there, and they're, you know, causing problems in the library and other public areas. And so this is really, I think, about getting people to understand the problem a little bit more and be a little bit more compassionate to these folks when they encounter them. Next slide, please. Okay. So there is a recognition that on campus there is an issue with people experiencing homelessness and hunger. Colleagues in social work, many of you may know Kathy Traver. She was on this group, well, the data committee years ago when it's kind of first got going. And then Travis Hedwig, he's in population health sciences, public health essentially, and so he's been involved. And so they did a study, you know, some 5 years ago where they surveyed students. This ended up being published in a peer-reviewed journal. You can see that it's you know, it's not a small problem. That many students have either been experiencing homelessness or they are precariously housed. And many of them experience food insecurity, over a third of them. So it's a significant issue. This is, you know, UAA is an open admission university. It's not like an Ivy League where most of the people there are from wealthy families. A lot of folks who are working class and so on, and are can be just paying for tuition and everything else can strap their abilities to cover housing and food. Next slide, please.
I have a question, Sharon.
Sure.
So back to that last slide, I mean, this is a kind of a national issue right now, sort of in my wheelhouse a little bit, but is UAA now providing housing for students between breaks that don't have another place to go? I know many universities have started doing that. If a student says, you know, look, this is my only house and I don't have a family to go back to, you know, students in foster care, that's an issue as well. Is UAA providing housing for that now?
I don't know that.
Okay.
I don't know, but I could find that out.
And I think for certain student populations, they are. I just didn't know how widely offered it was.
Yeah, well, I did just learn yesterday from Amanda Metavere that they're going to be specifically housing for people students who have exited foster care.
Right.
So that it'll be, I don't know if it's designated for them specifically or it's a separate unit or, you know, within the housing, but anyway, yeah, that's good. All right, so kind of the resources that UAA has, and this is listed under their webpage for the Hunger and Homelessness Support Network, that if you're a student, you have a Wolf card, and faculty also have Wolf cards, that you can use the shower. You can use the sports complex actually for free as a student. It's part of your student fees. Locker rental, of course, if you have stuff but no safe place to keep it, you could rent a locker somewhere on campus, either in the sports complex or somewhere else. Student housing, there's, that's just the prices for either you're sharing a room with another person in a place with like a shared bathroom, or you've got your own sort of separate unit. Obviously, the price ranges quite a bit, and that's per semester. I don't know whether they boot people off usually they do. They don't let you move in until, I think move-in day is tomorrow. And then typically they make people go home during the breaks. But I don't know whether to your question. They also provide a guide to living off campus. So there are people who've never done that before. Maybe they're just coming right out of a family living situation and this. And then there's also information referring people to community resources. And then more specifically with respect to hunger, there's a Seawolf pantry, which is open at a specified time where you can kind of go in and sort of pick what you want. And then there's also an emergency food cache where you can contact them and say, I have no food. And then there's like a bag of food that's sort of prepared ahead of time. Mostly not food that requires, cooking. Great deal. All right. All right, cool. Someone's put that on there. Student involvement. Initially, I thought I would just talk about my own class. When Mitch asked me to do this, I have a class called Homelessness and Crime that I usually teach every spring semester. And this is all about showing students all the different intersections between homelessness and the criminal justice system, whether it's people experiencing homelessness as victims or as offenders, or their involvement with police, with corrections. So people re-entering society after being incarcerated. We know that homelessness rates are very high among that population and so on. So we cover all these kinds of things, in addition to just homelessness in general as a social problem. And then there are other courses, and I'm going to profile one. One of the next slides talks about this course that I thought was really cool in the architectural and engineering technology program. The student government, the USUAA, Union of Students of UAA, I don't know what that stands for exactly, but it's a student government. They've had a winter gear drive, so if you have old, coats, jackets, mittens, hats, whatever, then these get donated to services that help people experiencing homelessness. I came across this article in True North magazine about Jennifer Spencer. I thought it was really great that they profiled her, because I had seen this woman around campus for years, and I never quite knew who she was, but she was always around. And now I understand. That article, which I think you could probably look up. I should have had a link to it. She talks about how she experienced homelessness and how she couch surfed basically, and how she was on campus and at the library until it closed. And that when she finally got stable housing of her own, she talked about how she had to kind of change her mindset and say, like, I can go home whenever I want. I don't have to wait like until the library closed at 2 a.m. and then go home. I can go wherever she was, whatever couch she was staying on, that she could go whenever she wanted. And that was a real change for her. And she's now working at the university. God, where is this? Awesome. And then there's also at the university, the Center for Community Engagement and Learning, and they have students that are called community engaged student assistants. You can basically, as a faculty member, apply to have a student work with you, and then this fund supports a student in some way. But just looking at the projects that some of these CSAs worked on last year, there were several slides, or several of them that worked with the Hunger and Homelessness Support Network. One who worked with a homeless food pantry, and then one who did a study of homelessness policies in Anchorage. The next slide. please. Other things that students have, I don't know if they are currently involved in this community engaged learning and service learning. It really depends what faculty members are doing with respect to their courses, but you can see they've worked at a variety of places that touch on this population. And then there have been those who have also in their research have focused on homeless populations in their research. And most recently, I found one from a PhD student who looked at substance misuse among people experiencing homelessness in Anchorage. And then next, these, yeah, it says classroom research. Oh, okay. Somehow the pictures got all messed up over the, but this was this course that I wanted to just mention. Joel Condon, who was in the AEP program, he had a design project class. And what they did was they actually just reached out to members of the community. I believe they actually went to Brother Francis and other places where they engaged with people sort of in a focus group format. And they want to figure out like, what do you actually want? Like, you know, we're talking about building all these like mini shelters and so on, but you know, what do the folks who are actually going to be living in them want? And they went out and talked to them, and then they came up with several designs. And yeah, so that was just an example of a very policy-oriented sort of real-life work that the students were doing. Oh, it's better, yeah. And very, as the term that's used in higher education, is very relevant, you know, and salient for the students. And I'm sure that they felt like they were actually making a difference. And that's what we call a high-impact learning practice, and very valued in higher education. So I think that's it. So thank you for the opportunity to present this. I think it took more than my allowed time, but appreciate you. All right.
Thank you so much. I think it was the perfect amount of time. So we're going to move into the approval of the items on the consent agenda. We have we're going to request a motion to approve our August meeting agenda for today's meeting, or to make any changes. So I'll open that to the floor.
This is Sharon. I'll move to approve the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I'll second. This is Dave.
Thanks, Dave. Next, we would like to request a motion for the July meeting minutes approval.
Oh, I'll make a motion to approve the
Thank you,
meeting
Sharon.
minute.
Was that Dave again?
Sure, why not?
Thank you. Wonderful. I'd like to move into our special presentation and discussion. Jessica, that looks like you. Take it away.
All right, thank you. I'm sorry, I am getting over a little bit of a cough, so my voice has been a little bit scratchy. Okay, so here is hoping I am now sharing a PowerPoint screen. Thumbs up. Okay. Phew.
I don't see it.
Uh-oh.
I see the HUD Continuum of Care Grant Program launch slide.
Yes. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just going slow.
I can see it too.
Okay. All right. If you had an opportunity on the 8th, this is essentially the presentation that I made at that kickoff as well. But we did, HUD just today released the annual renewal demand numbers. So the numbers are now final in here and not the estimates, especially for the bonus projects. So that's super exciting. But otherwise, this is really a duplicate of that presentation. So I'm going to go through it fairly quickly because I want there to be some time for people to ask questions. So again, this is the launch for the Continuum of Care grant program launch. So this is those individual local applications, not necessarily the larger collaborative application at this time. So we're going to talk about some COC resources that are available to assist applicants. The NOFO itself. So some lingo, this was Taria's language from last year, stuff 101, reviewing the local competition timeline, and then some time for questions, as I said at the end. This PowerPoint will go out, but some important links I just want to highlight. On our website, we have a page that is 2024 NOFO. That is going to be updated regularly, and it will have all of this information linked on there as well. And there's also a recording of the presentation on the 8th there. So if you want to reference back to something I said, you can get to it there. And then I'll say this a lot in this presentation. If anyone has any questions about this notice of funding opportunity, please feel free to reach out via email, grants@ach.org. That does go to a couple different people, and it may take us a day to get back to you, but we're researching it and responding to messages through there. That's a lot easier than trying to email one individual person. That way, whoever has the answer can get back to you. So some high level about the NOFO. What is a NOFO? A NOFO is a notice of funding opportunity. This particular NOFO is a community-wide application process that supports housing programs in our continuum of care, or our COC, you'll hear it called, with the overall goal of ending homelessness. And we are one of more than 400 COCs across the nation. This particular funding opportunity supports some key HUD strategic goals, looking to support underserved communities, ensuring that there is access to and also increasing the production of affordable housing, promoting home ownership. We don't have a home ownership component in this particular NOFO, and then advancing sustainable communities. So the HUD strategic priorities are number one, ending homelessness for everyone. HUD places a focus on using a housing first approach, reducing unsheltered homelessness. So looking at your homeless prevention and response system and the actions that you're taking to reduce the number of unsheltered people experiencing homelessness in your community. Improving those system performance measures. If you're a grantee, you know all about that. Partnering with housing, health, and other service agencies. So they want to see a well-rounded continuum of care and homeless prevention and response system. They want to see programs that center racial equity and improve that access to assistance to LGBTQ plus individuals. They want to see that we're including people with lived experience, both in building the processes and in those decision-making roles like the advisory council. And then, of course, increasing the affordable housing supply. We know that there are just not enough units of housing that are affordable and accessible for people experiencing homelessness. So again, some lingo. The collaborative application. This is that overarching application that our entire community provides input into and then gets submitted. There are two continuum of cares in our state. The Anchorage Coalition to End Homelessness is the collaborative applicant for the Anchorage COC. AHFC facilitates that with Balance of State, and those get submitted directly to HUD. Your collaborative application impacts your level of funding. So the scores that your collaborative application receives can affect how much funding your community gets. Then there's the local project applications. And so that's what all of our individual grantees and projects are going to submit. There are both renewal and then there are bonus projects. And those applications get submitted directly to ACH and then go through a rank and review process with our rank and review committee. That's made up of members of our community that are not applying for funds. And it looks at what our local priorities are and scores those projects against that. The Youth Homelessness Demonstration Project, or YHDP, those grants are all part of this competition now. They can be renewals or replacement projects. And again, they are competitive, so they meet that eligibility and renewal criteria. Last year was the first year that those grants were competitive, so it's the same as last year for YHDP. And then eSnaps. So if you've never applied for COC funds before, once that application for the local project has been selected and advanced for submission, those applicants will then go in and submit an application directly to HUD using the eSnaps program. And eSnaps is where it ties back to our collaborative application and brings all of the pieces together directly to HUD. So eligible applicants, these are for both new projects and renewal projects. Organization types can be a nonprofit organization, a state or local government, and a tribe or tribally designated housing entities, or a TDHE. They must demonstrate financial and management capacity and experience. The population that they're proposing to be served must meet the eligibility requirements and also be located in Anchorage. If you are listening to this and you are considering a project that is outside of Anchorage, our partner organization, the Balance of State COC, the Alaska Coalition on Housing and Homelessness, is running that competition right now. So if that speaks to you, please reach out to me via email and I will connect you with AKCH2. Grantees need to show a commitment to use AKHMIS, coordinated entry, those prioritization lists to receive your referrals, and use housing first practices. And if it's applicable, there will be a review of that organization's past performance. So if that organization has been a grantee in the past, that plays into that evaluation process as well. So the HUD categories of homelessness for the Anchorage Continuum of Care competition is category 1, which is literally homeless. That means someone who is residing in an emergency shelter, in a transitional housing program, or they are unsheltered on the streets, living somewhere that is not intended for human habitation. So someone who lives in a shed, in a vehicle, in a tent, in a park, all of that is a place not meant for human habitation. Or category 4, which is someone who is fleeing or attempting to flee domestic violence, dating violence, stalking, or human trafficking. So the eligible project types for new and renewal projects. Permanent supportive housing, or PSH, as you may have heard it called. They will serve categories 1 and 4 of people experiencing homelessness, and also be dedicated plus programs. So 100% of those beds are dedicated to people who meet HUD's chronically homeless definition. Rapid rehousing projects, again, serving categories 1 and 4 homeless, or 1 and 4 homelessness. The difference between rapid rehousing and permanent supportive housing is that word permanent. So rapid rehousing projects have a length of time that assistance is provided, and that can be up to 24 months. And it is rental assistance and supportive services in the form of case management typically. The third project type is a joint transitional housing and rapid rehousing, or THRRH, again, serving those same categories. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a transitional housing project that has a rapid rehousing component. And the total length of support for the transitional housing and the rapid rehousing together can't go beyond 24 months. So the combination can be anything in that mix. It could be half and half. It could be 6 months in transitional housing, 18 months of rapid rehousing, or any combination therein. And then renewals for the other project types need to meet the project renewal thresholds. So that's our HMIS project and our coordinated entry project. So HUD system performance measures. There's 7 HUD system performance measures, and this particular competition looks at 6 of them. Measure 6, you'll see it skipped. Measure 6 is focused on homelessness prevention. Prevention activities are not an eligible expense to our COC grants. They are only eligible expenses to COCs that are classified by HUD as high performing COCs, and none of them exist in the nation right now. So I guess we're in good company. So just running through those 6 measures, looking at the median length of time homeless. So how long does someone spend experiencing homelessness from the time they enter our system to the time they exit to a permanent destination? Measure 2 is returns to homelessness. So when someone is housed through one of our projects, do they return to homelessness at a future date? The overall number of people experiencing homelessness in our community. Employment and income growth, this one's an important one. HUD looks at permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing projects that go beyond a 12-month period. They look to see that employment and income growth within those clients participating. And the way they measure that is by the annual assessments. So again, if you're a grantee, you know all about that. So doing those annual assessments and putting that information into HMIS is how we measure that particular system performance measure for our community. Measure 5 is looking at the number of people experiencing homelessness for the first time in our community. And then measure number 7 is the number of exits to permanent housing destinations. So placing people into a permanent housing situation. So funding chart. Oh, I could have deleted estimated because, as I said, we have an ARD now. So there is some slight changes from last year. Some good, some medium. They did change the tier 1 and the tier 2 splits. In the past, they were 93% in tier 1 and 7% in tier 2. And now you'll see that that split is 90% and 10%. So your 90% of your annual renewal demand, that tier 1 amount is your safest money. That is your money that your COC is most likely to get awarded. Your tier 2 amount is the amount of money that is less safe. And how this works is when those projects go through that rank and review process, they get put in a chart. And there will be the top scoring one at the top and the low scoring one at the bottom. And depending on the dollar amounts of those projects, you go down the line and you draw a line in between tier 1 and tier 2. So once you have allocated $3,118,696, you draw that line and the projects below that line are in the tier 2 amount. Planning funds are allocated based on 5% of the annual renewal demand. So this is a slight increase from last year. Our current planning fund grant is exactly $200,000. For this application process, the planning grant is $209,942. COC bonus, this is an increase in the percentage than it was in prior years. So our bonus opportunity funding this year is $503,862. And then our domestic violence bonus project availability is $342,776. So those are higher amounts than were available to us last year, which is really exciting to see HUD make those kinds of investments. One thing I do want to highlight is that domestic violence bonus projects do not have to be awarded to a provider that is solely a DVSA provider. They just need to be dedicated to serving people who are fleeing or survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and trafficking. So just wanted to highlight, I feel like I've said it a lot in the last couple of months, but I know in the past there's been some misconceptions about who could apply for that money. So I do just want to call out that is available. So overall, the total potential funds, if all tier 1 and tier 2 projects are funded and both bonus projects are fully funded, would be just over $5.2 million for our community. That would be really exciting to break $5 million for Anchorage. So I'm hoping that we have a lot of people come in with bonus projects. And then talking about YHDP programs. So like I said, last year was the first year that they were competing with everyone else in the rank and review process. So it's the same as last year. YHDP grantees would be submitting a renewal application. Make sure you answer all of the questions on that renewal application. And then I've said this before, but if you are a YHTP grantee and you are interested in submitting a replacement grant, this will allow your existing grantees to change their program types, make budget changes. Please reach out and talk to Yvonne and I about that if that's something you're interested in. Right now, no one has stated that they have that interest. All right, so new projects. Our total bonus funding available, so the COC bonus and the DV bonus together, are $846,638. It's exciting to say exact dollar amounts right now. COC bonus funding uses, the allowable projects are those permanent supportive housing projects, rapid rehousing projects, or joint transitional housing and rapid rehousing projects. The DV bonus projects funding uses are the rapid rehousing projects, that joint transitional housing, rapid rehousing, and a supportive services only coordinated entry project type. So those are the 3 project types that are available for each of those different bonus categories. All of the applicants for new projects also go through that same scoring and ranking process. And then just highlighting again, DV bonus is used for new or expansion DV specific project applications. 100% of the participants are or will be survivors of domestic violence, dating violence, sexual assault, or stalking. One thing I will call out is that it cannot be that you only serve people who are survivors of stalking. So it can be a mix of any of those things, but it can't be 100% that population. All right, here is a flow chart of the NOFO process. So we are in the far left category right now. So the YHDP renewal and replacement projects are doing their applications, renewal project applications, and new project applications for that bonus money. It says or reallocation money. We don't have any reallocation money this year planned, so it will just be bonus projects coming in. All of those different application types come in together and they go into the rank and review process where there will be a committee that is reviewing all of those applications. They are scoring them and then they are ranking them. Those all then go into eSnaps. So each of those applicants is going to put those projects into eSnaps. I did sort of skip a step in there. It goes back to the advisory council, that priority listing. And at the same time, we're working on that collaborative application. And then all of that goes together and gets submitted into HUD as our completed application. So looking at the timeline, July 31st is when this NOFO was released. Yesterday, August 21st, was when the local applications, the local competition was launched and the applications were available. There was an introduction, as I said, presentation on August 8th. September 9th is when those local applications are due, and then the rank and review committee does their thing. September 27th is when we will publish those COC funding recommendations. So they're going to go to the advisory council for their September meeting to be able to do that approval. And then everybody will receive a notification if their project was selected or did not make it. And all of that will be published on our website. October 15th is when the eSnaps entries are due for all of the projects that were selected to move forward with that priority listing. And then October 30th is when the due date for the entire application to be submitted to HUD is. As a COC, we are aiming for a submission a couple days before that because as we all know, submitting on due date is just asking for something to go wrong. Technical assistance sessions. So we will have 3 technical assistance sessions for the August and September, in August and September for the local competition. The first one is tomorrow, and then next Friday, and then last September 6th, which is the Friday right before the due date. The October sessions are going to be for eSNAP's technical assistance. So for grantees who need assistance or have questions about the submission to eSNAPs, and those will be on October 4th and October 11th. Watch for an email to come out with an invite and calendar links to all of those technical assistance questions. And again, reach out to us at grants@ach.org if you have any questions or didn't get an invite and need that invite and link. All right. So that was somewhat fast, but I want to give time for us to ask questions. And I do see, let me stop sharing, and we've got a couple notes in the chat. Oh, never mind. They weren't related to this. The link for our website page, though, is on there that has everything hosted there.
Jessica, do you know at this point if there are people that have, been planning for a bonus project and have something in the works?
We had quite a few people come to our initial session to talk about it. We held a listening session, kind of a town hall-ish type thing, before the NOFO was released, so we could talk a little bit more detailed about the different types of projects, and people could push things around and think about it. And I think we had 5 or 6 entities there, so I feel pretty good that we'll get some good applications. Last year we had 6 bonus project applications, so that was great. Yeah, go ahead, Laura.
Hey, Jessica. So I saw that the application was sent out, and it was in a link. The only question I had was, do you guys have it in like a PDF form? Because when you go to fill it out, and if you exit it, it erases everything that you already put in.
Yes, we will have a PDF version, but we heard you feedback, and we did turn on the ability to save and come back later. So so you can, if you do want to submit it online, you can stop partway through the application and then come back and add to it again. But we will have the PDF version uploaded by the end of the day today.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you submit it via the PDF, it's just like it was last year. Just make sure all of the attachments are on there and email it to grants. If you submit it online, it's just going to come directly to us.
Okay, perfect.
And then you'll get a confirmation email. All right. Well, I don't want to monopolize the rest of the meeting. So on that note, if anyone has any questions, absolutely feel free to reach out. But otherwise, happy NOFO season. And I look forward to talking to you all more.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And thank you for all of your hard work on this. I look forward to taking part. This would be my first one to participate in. And so I hope for anyone that's interested, they just jump in and see what this is all about. So the next item on our agenda, I believe, is our advisory council chair report, which since I'm standing in for the chair, I don't have anything to share for the chair, but I also wanted to open it up for our committee report follow-up. So if anybody had any questions on the written committee reports that were shared out with the agenda, now is the time to share those thoughts. Hearing none. Let's move on to the ACH report, the education component, the government and operations report follow-up. Questions and discussion. ACH staff, could one of you give us a little bit of context for this one? I feel a little lost right now.
Yeah, sorry. I clicked over into a different screen and did not see
That's okay.
what was being shared. So just really quickly, this is typically where myself or whoever is here from the coalition can talk a little bit about the work that's happening. It being over the summer, there's not a whole lot of government updates to be able to share, but operational updates. As I think a lot of people know, this is the winding down of our Next Step project that we have going in the coalition. We have successfully housed 177 people since December of last year using that project, and are currently holding at a 95% retention, which is amazing. We're really excited about that. We do have funds to close one more camp. So we're having those conversations with APD and Parks and Rec. And hopefully we'll be moving forward with that in September, early October to close out that part of the project. Otherwise, operational is all NOFO all the time. So working in all of the regular case conferencing meetings and all of the work that we do to support all of the committees, and then adding in all of the NOFO pieces there. And I know it was in the report, but just wanted to share, we have been having great conversations at the Compliance Committee and Community Prioritization Committee around the gap analysis, anchored home, and updating governance charters. So look for some great conversations and things to come forward from those committees over the next couple months. Thanks.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Even though I don't think it requires any room for comment, I'll still leave it open in case anybody wants to tack on a question or a comment. And then it looks like this is the segment for questions and comments from our chat box and anyone attending. So if anybody has anything to share.
Hey Grace, this is Janae. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, hey, this is Janae Gray from ICA, the HMIS lead. And I just did have a couple updates that I wanted to pass along. Just to let you guys know that the annual AKHMIS governance review will kick off, the process will kick off on September 9th. And so you guys should have received an email or should be receiving an email about some of that information. But Alaska operates under one governance structure for AKHMIS, and the AKHMIS Advisory Board is who is over that. And so, of course, my dog's barking right now. But anyway, so that stuff will be coming out on September 1st. And so just be on the lookout on that. And then we are at ICA conducting, as part of the HMIS lead, AKHMIS monitoring. Right now, for the first time, this is the first time that we've had the opportunity to do this as the HMIS lead. And so we're doing this more as a baseline year. And so there has been quite a few things that have came up with this. And so we're not doing this as we're doing this more as a technical assistance with the agencies that we've been working with. And so I wanted to just give a brief overview of some things that we've seen. One thing that we've seen is that just not updated policies and procedures for AKHMIS. And so Pam has been working with agencies to update that. We've had some high levels of just inconsistency and homeless information being collected on agencies. So we've been working with them on that, and then working on some of the system performance measure stuff with which would I know that Jessica had talked about system performance measures and how they're related to the NOFO. And so working with agencies on that with project setup and keep making sure that we have everything set up correctly on the project side with agencies on that. And so we have been, I think Pam said, whenever we looked on this, we've have completed about 32% is in the process. We have about 18% of organizations that we haven't started. And then we have the rest of them are either complete or will be complete in the next cohort of the monitoring process for that. And then the data quality plan, we did some revisions in 2023. And so we'll be working on implementing those changes and releasing and updating in October for this next federal fiscal year for quarter number 4. And so that was just a little bit, and then just a little bit about the HMIS funding. We did have a conversation with Allison, the board chair, Meg and Jessica a couple weeks ago. ICA has drafted a letter to the Anchorage Health Department and AHFC for some requesting funding. Those are actually at the main office. Dave Egerbach, our COO, is reviewing those. I think he had sent back a couple changes. I sent that back to him. And then we have provided some reporting of what mandatory projects are entered into AKHMIS, what's voluntary, and then what's the state mandatory programs that are entered in. And so we provided those. And so all those numbers will also be in those letters that we'll be sending out to those 2 major funders. We did receive $80,000 from the, how do we say this wrong, Jesse? Is it the YESI grant, which is a $80,000 each year for 2 years. So that will help a little bit with the budget. And we did have a position that one of our team members was actually leaving us in 4 weeks, and we're not going to fill that position for right now. So that will help a little bit in the budget. So we'll be able to I wouldn't say that we don't need that position, because it's not we don't need that position, but we're okay with not filling it at this current time. As long as we don't get any additional requests for any additional programs, grants to be entered into the system right now. We are still going to be short. I actually did have an email this afternoon that we may be receiving some other funding. I can't confirm or deny that yet, but if we do, then that will offset some of that too. And so we are working on that actively. And then Jessica and Allison and Brian and I are meeting next week. I just still need to send that invitation out. I was waiting for a couple more dates back to see when people could meet, but I'll be sending that out too, because the actual contract that we are under right now was only a 2-month contract, because we were waiting to see if we could get some of this additional funding figured out. And so we'll be extending that since we at least got the 80,000, and we will be able to reduce one of the positions. And so talking about that and stuff next week too. So I just wanted to just give a little brief update on what we've been doing and where we're at with funding. So that is what I had.
Janae, thank you. Yeah, there's a lot of information there. And for some of our newer members, there might be a lot of context there that's missing. So a lot of information coming through the fire hose. But the first component that Janae brought up, we received an email about the AKHMIS Advisory Board during their annual review. And that's really critical, as HMIS is a HUD mandated requirement for everybody that receives federal funds. And our AKHMIS Advisory Board, they are the ones that make sure that the machine is running smoothly. And so our part in that as the advisory committee is to make sure that we get that paperwork approved after they do their annual review. And I encourage you to attend. It's an educational piece at the very least to understand kind of how the sausage is made in terms of data collection and how we maintain all of those really important pieces of the system. And then in previous meetings, we did ask our partner ICA to provide updates on their funding status. And so that's really important for us to know so we can understand how we can advocate for that as well. So thank you for the updates. I believe we're in the segment where we can share good news and community events. So if anybody has a brief update, I see we only have about 4 minutes left on our agenda. So I just want to open it up to good news and community events. Hearing none, let's move to any opportunities for us to participate in advocacy, and then any closing remarks.
I just wanted to share, it's not quite advocacy, but, and I'm on my laptop, so I'm gonna get real close to my screen. I'm not sure if it's actually on there. Oh, it is. So the housing summit, that is, next Thursday is going to have a virtual option available. So the in-person registrations filled up really fast, but there is gonna be a virtual option. So watch for an email out, and if you don't get an email with the virtual link, let me know and I can forward it to you. But there is the ability to watch it live streamed via Vimeo, and then the Vimeo link is going to also be hosted on the Alaska Coalition on Housing and Homelessness website as well. So you can always just go there and find it on Thursday as well. But really excited for this event next week, and excited that there's a virtual option since the BP Center is pretty limited in their space and pretty strict on fire code.
We're going across the street.
Well, thank you. I think that we've come to the end of our agenda. So I'd like to call for a motion to adjourn.
Also move.
Wonderful. Second.
Roger, second.
Fantastic. Thank you everyone for your time and energy and effort. And I hope you get a chance, if you're in the Anchorage area, to get out there and enjoy the sunshine. And we'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone.
Great work, Grace. Thank you.
Good day.